Hey you guys, so today I wanted to talk about kind of a controversial topic right now, which is the ramifications of social distancing. I know that a lot of people right now are hyper focused on the coronavirus and, finding a cure for it and keeping your distance and following all of the protocols and, this, that, and the other, which is good. We should be careful. We should follow the instructions. It is much more real in certain areas and more hard hit in certain areas than in others. And, we all probably have a different opinion amongst each other depending on where we live. Like, some people will probably agree that some areas can be a little bit more lenient with their restrictions than others. But one thing that I'm seeing way too commonly right now is the ramifications of social distancing, which are isolation, depression, and anxiety, and in some cases, suicidal thoughts. That's never okay. I never want anybody, let alone people on such a large world scale, to get so scared and feel so alone that they get to that deep, dark place where they even, for 1 second, consider ending it. And I think that you can't even deny that a lot of us are like going crazy. We have cabin fever, and it's crazy. But, in many cases, this is just what we have to do, and we listen. But it's so much more than that for other people, and I think discounting that is just sad at this point. Like I've said many, many times, two things can be true at the same time. The coronavirus can be real. I do believe that there's two strains of it because I know people who had it and got over it with flying colors. I know other people who died from it. I know people in the middle ground who, had a really, really big fight ahead of them to get over it. But you can't discount the fight that people have on a normal day-to-day basis that is extremely amplified because of this virus. And to say that it has nothing to do with it or you can't compare it makes no sense to me. Because there's people literally telling you, I'm feeling this way because of the virus. Number one rule for me would be turn off the news and don't go searching for news on it. But even then, it's everywhere. And in some cases, you don't know what to believe. Because you'll have the news telling you one thing, and then either in your own experience, you'll experience something different, or you'll see firsthand evidence from somebody you trust of something that contradicts the news, for good or for bad. And then you just get sucked deeper and deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole. The ramifications of the fear surrounding this, like I said in my second to last video, which was my first video on coronavirus, the fear is just as dangerous as the virus, but that is putting it too simply because I know it's not that easy to not be afraid of it and to not be afraid of also what we don't know. Because at this point, It's my belief, and it's, many other people's belief, that there is a lot we don't know. So I can only go by, for me and my life, and what I do to stay sane, which doesn't really say much if you ask me or anybody who knows me. But I figured I would not only speak about the ramifications of all of this and how it's affecting various people, but also give you some tools. And, you know, I don't know you. This is very blanket. This is very just overall things you can do, very broad. Take what you think resonates with you and what you're willing to try, and then don't try whatever you don't feel comfortable with. So the first thing is find something that you're passionate about. You know, one thing that I will say that I don't understand is why it's okay to cram like sardines into a grocery store and fight with the new weapon of the last roll of toilet paper. But it's not okay to go to the park or go to the beach. I don't care at this point if you have somebody there in charge of making sure that you're 6 feet away from each other. There should be no arguments right now against fresh air. So that's my first piece of advice, is get some fresh air. If it means taking a walk or a stroll or a bike ride around your block, if that's as far as you're allowed to go, go. Do it. If you want to sit in your backyard or on your porch, do it. Clear your head. My second piece of advice would be exercise. Again, if you want to run around your block, if you want to exercise in your backyard, the two together, fresh air and exercise, is probably my biggest piece of advice. But doing them separately, if you want to exercise in your room or somewhere in your house, and then, take a walk or sit outside at different times, that's fine too. But if the weather permits for you, fresh air is a big deal right now. Whether it's for your nervous system, for your health, I think it's just very, very important. And also, something good that's come out of this, I guess you would say, is that the air is fresher. There's birds chirping like we've never heard before. In a lot of places, literally, there's been animals coming out that they haven't seen in the longest time. So we might as well take advantage of that before we get back to business as usual, which I do hope is soon for the sake of the many people who are out of a job right now. But that's, I guess that's not another story. That's, there's a lot of layers to this, and that's just part of it. We can't even say anymore that anything is really the other side. Like, even the ramifications that I was speaking about, I think it's all part of the same thing. And it's just people are handling it and dealing with it in different ways depending on how it's affecting their life. There's a lot of people who are affected career-wise right now. There are a lot of people who are affected isolation-wise right now. There are a lot of people that are affected health-wise right now. And I just don't think we should discount or ignore any of it. Just because we bring up something besides the sick and dying doesn't mean we're not also concerned about the sick and dying. And that's another thing too. One other thing that you can do, which, full disclosure, I've been advised against it by a couple of people on social media, but I still do it because it makes me feel better, and I know it makes some other people feel better when they see it. Don't be afraid to highlight the numbers in your area if they go down. Don't be afraid to highlight somebody on social media or an article that you see of somebody who has survived. I have a friend who was in very, very serious condition, and he's expected to pull through. I also have people who lost people to this. But I can pray for those people while celebrating the people who are recovering. And we can't forget that. Because if we literally sit there day in and day out and just pretty much read an obituary of all of the people who have died, we'll make ourselves crazy. We'll make ourselves sad and depressed. We have to give ourselves time to celebrate the good, to celebrate the successful. If the new drugs for this continue to work, we may never have this problem ever again. The coronavirus can come back next year. People will just hopefully be able to get the medication right away based on symptoms, and it can be as quick to recover from as a common cold. And that's something that we should all be hoping and praying for right now. So, yeah, in short, just do what you can to stay sane. Turn off the news when you can. Even when you find it hard to turn off the news, that's when you should probably turn it off. So, that's all I really wanted to say. I definitely wanted to pop in here because I knew it had been over a week since I made my last video. So, I hope you guys are staying well, staying sane, staying healthy, and I will talk to you guys next time. Please share this video if it resonated with you. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I will talk to you soon.